Lydia, I'm going to mute everyone, and then you can unmute yourself. Okay, great. So welcome everybody to our team call tonight. Excited to have you here. We've got a great agenda planned. Let me start with just some general announcements that we heard from our Diamond team meeting this last month. So doTERRA was very excited. They said that October was the highest month in doTERRA history for both sales and enrollment. And so that's pretty exciting to know that doTERRA is still growing as rapidly as it is. Our team, the Maguire team, had 43 of those enrollments, and James and I contributed 4 of those. Just want to let you know that we are educating people and working right alongside of you in enrolling. The copaiba oil, as you know, is available now. It's one per account per month. They were saying that we had ordered, as a doTERRA group, had ordered more in 1 month than what they thought they would sell in an entire year. And so that's pretty incredible. The suppliers in Brazil, though, are so excited. They were actually in tears. They said, you have no idea what this is going to mean to our community to be able to have this kind of need for our products. So they were very excited. The new facial products will be available at the end of November. I haven't seen them out yet, but those should be coming on. And then, of course, the enrollment kits you've probably all seen are 20% off this month. They've never done this before. So pretty good enrollment promotion there. And then mark the date of November 28th. We are going to be sending out an email shortly, but at 7 p.m. Mountain Time, we are going to be hosting a live workshop for our entire team with our Emerge sales coach, Missy Eck. So I've been coaching with her for the last 4 months. She's absolutely amazing. Although the call will be recorded, there's going to be a bonus for anyone who attends live. And so you're going to get a recording called How to Explain LRP Like a Boss. There's going to be a real honest dialogue about why selling and closing can be so hard. But then she's going to give us the 5 keys to closing. And then you'll also walk away, so you will walk away with new skills and an outline that you can use right away. So watch for the email that we're going to be sending out and make sure that you get registered for that. It's going to be a great event. So last month we started with talking about successes, but we had, it was just people, I could tell people really weren't sure about sharing their wins, and they were a little bit reluctant to share. So what I wanted to do, if it's okay, I wanted to go ahead and start off by talking about wins and what those look like and why we share our wins. So I'm going to share my screen here for just a moment and bring up this listing here that we got from Emerge Sales. And I think it's really important to know, what does winning look like? Because oftentimes we think, oh, well, if I get promoted, that's a win. Or if I sign up 5 people, that's a win. That's not really what we're looking for as coaches. So this is what we were given by Tasha, and I just love it. So if you try a new leadership skill, then that's winning, right? If you feel more confident as a leader, or you feel more confident in your sales, that's also winning. If you're coaching a team leader and they actually show up for a call, that's winning, because they're showing up because they feel confident that you can help them and they feel like they're getting something out of that call. If a team member just says, thanks, that was really helpful, that's also winning if you're able to help them come up with good ideas for their challenges. So if a team member tries something new, that's also winning. If a team member sees success with something new, once again, #winning. If our team members have confidence and hope, and they are learning from their mistakes versus wallowing in their mistakes, that's also winning. Obviously, if we can get team members to set goals, just to set a goal is winning. This is interesting. I've been reaching downline and coaching with several of team leaders downline where their upline leaders are no longer available for them. And it's amazing how many people just absolutely hate to set goals. They're afraid of them. And so if you can walk somebody through the process and give them enough confidence so that they will actually set some goals, that's winning. And then also, if a team member reaches a goal, of course, that's winning. And so winning, as you can see, doesn't always have to be, signing somebody up or jumping to a new rank. What we see here is just progress. Every day, a little bit more progress, a little bit more confidence. People are trying new things. All of those things are winning. And while we're here, I am going to just share the general stats and averages that Tasha gave us. So a lot of people get really discouraged when they don't make every sale, or they don't always have a full class. And so she wanted to share with us just some statistics in sales in general. And so appointment show rate, 67% will show, and for those will show up. So those of you who don't do the math, that's 6 to 7 out of every 10. So what does that mean? 3 to 4 won't, right? So you're still winning if you hit 67%. It doesn't have to be 100%. Then we have this appointment closing average. So really, it's about 50%. Once you have that sales conversation, 50% will sign up with doTERRA, but 50% won't. And this doesn't necessarily have any reflection on you. That's just the average statistics. It's about 50% will buy, 50% won't. Average order, about $100 is an average order. So referrals, so 50% of the people you ask for referrals, 5 of those 10 won't give you any referrals ever, right? So if you're asking only one person for referrals, you have a 50-50% chance of getting referrals or not. And then calling referrals. This is even less. So if you get referrals from people and you call them, only 20% are actually going to set up an appointment with you. So that's only 2 out of 10 that will actually take that offer. Let's talk about recruiting conversations for a minute. So 20% of customers are open to learning about the business opportunity. That means 8 out of 10 will not. Tasha teaches us just to ask everybody. Don't ever assume that people don't want to do the business. Always ask everybody and give them the opportunity to tell you whether they do or don't. But don't expect everybody to, right? So 20% will learn about the business. In fact, in doTERRA, the statistics are about 85% of our people are just happy customers. Only 15% of the millions of people in doTERRA are actual builders and want to do the business. An OMG conversation, this is asking people about doing the business. That's her little acronym for that. It's a oh my gosh conversation. So 1 out of 3 leads will lead to a launch. So even if people say that they want to do the business, only about 3 will actually launch. They'll actually share with people and move forward in that. I love the 20-60-20 rule. It applies to lots of things. 20% won't buy, 60% might buy, and 20% are not going to buy no matter what you do. And so this is a good rule to remember. So don't always make it about you if you don't get the sale. 20-60-20. 20% won't build, period. 60% might build. And 20% will go ahead and build on their own with or without coaching. That's just kind of the way people are. And then to recruit 1 builder, you need to invite about 16 people, which means ask 16 people if they would like to do the business. Out of those 16 people, you're actually going to get 4, oh my gosh, conversations where you sit down and say, okay, this is what the business looks like, and this is how you do it. And out of those 4, only 1 out of 3 will actually do the business. Okay, these 2 statistics down here are for some charts that we're doing. If you are trying to, let's just say, build to silver, and you need 3 elites, which is 3,000, for every 1,000 to 1,500 point shortfall that you have, you need to bring on a new builder. And 1 builder will typically bring you in 8 enrollments is what those are. So I just wanted to share these statistics with you to let you know that success isn't always 100% win all the time. There's a lot of different things that happen to create wins in our lives. So I just wanted to go over that. I'm not going to share wins this month. I just really wanted to talk about what winning looks like so that we can get a better idea of when we actually are winning. So, okay. Okay. So, you know what? Is Katie Ricks on? I am not.
I am
are. Good.
Yeah.
You unmuted yourself. Awesome.
It's Daniel's iPad. How dare he name it after him?
Oh, that's it. Okay. Well, Katie, thank you so much for being on the call tonight. Katie is going to do our product focus for tonight. And so she's going to take a few minutes here and just tell us about some of the new products. I don't even know what she's talking about, but Katie, thank you so much for doing this tonight. So
sure.
Go ahead and share.
Sure. So when Cynthia asked me to do this, immediately I thought of rose oil. And I think rose oil, at least for me, holds this like untouchable oil. I earned it a few years ago, and I literally would open it to smell it, but never would I dare use it. And so I think that now that it's in the touch form, it's a little more usable. And so I wanted to kind of focus on that one because I wanted to use it. I wanted to figure out how to apply it. So I don't know if you guys, I assume most of you are at convention, but we know about Emily Wright's experience with her daughter and the powerful effects that rose oil had on her skin eruptions, what was going on with her. And it really impacted me. And so I have had a couple opportunities to use them with amazing results. Now I'm going to try and be super compliant. So you'll just have to use your imagination as to what I'm actually talking about.
Perfect.
My mom actually, she gets this skin irritation around her wedding ring once a year or so, and it takes a long time to heal for her. And so she had been applying some other oils like Melaleuca and things like that, which would normally, help, and it wasn't clearing up. And so I had my rose oil and I was like, ooh. So I gave it to her and let her use it for a few days. And she only needed it for a few days. And she gave it back to me. I was like, don't you want to keep it a little longer? She's like, I'm good.
Wow.
So the quick effects of the rose on her skin irritation were pretty incredible to me. Another thing I was experienced were some skin imperfections on my eyelids. I am now 19 weeks pregnant, and my skin kind of went a little crazy with the hormones and things. And so I applied it with my finger to my eyelid very carefully. And I want to say it was like maybe 3 applications and it was gone. The skin imperfection had just healed and it was gone, and it wasn't bothering me anymore, which was pretty amazing. So I would just encourage everyone to just try rose oil instead of holding it on it. And it's great for a perfume too, obviously. It smells beautifully. But to actually try and use the application of the oil to benefit your skin and all that it can do for you in that arena, instead of just keeping it on your shelf because it's pretty.
Or because it's $325.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
5 ml bottle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of you, I mean, I'm in the presence of a naturopathic doctor and a registered nurse, so I don't need to go into all of I can't teach you guys anything about the chemical properties, and it's not my strong suit, but I just wanted to share those two experiences that I had with this amazing oil. So
Thank you, Katie.
sure.
That was great. Yeah, I think we have a lot to learn about rose oil yet. I haven't used it a lot. I don't think a lot of us have because it is so expensive. But now that it's in the doTERRA Touch form, a lot of people are excited about trying it out to see what they can do, especially for the skin issues, definitely. So thanks, Katie. Thanks for sharing. So, okay, so I know that contacting people initially can be a little bit intimidating, obviously. If it weren't, I think a lot of us would be growing a lot faster than we are. We all kind of hate to pick up that phone call or make that first initial contact. So what we're going to do now is turn the time over to Lydia, because Lydia is going to share with you a lot of the things that we've learned in Emerge training on making those first initial contacts and what we can say and how we can do that the most efficiently so it works really well. And I think you'll really feel a lot more at ease once you listen to what she has to say. So Lydia, go ahead and unmute yourself. And
all right.
Thank you.
So this is going to be a team participation segment. So get ready to unmute when you have something to say. I want you to think about for just a minute and share what life was like before doTERRA. And think of it in a way as how things have changed for you. But what was it like before doTERRA? So is there anybody who would like to share about that?
I'll start out. I'm a naturopathic doctor, for those of you who don't know. But I used herbs with my clients for a good 20 years before I was introduced to doTERRA essential oils. And I had tried some other oils out there, wasn't really happy with them. But what I found when I started using the oils was that they worked so much quicker for my clients than the herbal products did for many, many, many things. And so I was really excited about that. I can use the oils for children a lot easier than getting them to swallow pills. And personally, I think the oils have just been a boon for me as far as, not only taking care of my own health, but absolutely loving the smell and what they do for me emotionally and mentally. When I'm in that kind of place, there's nothing else that takes the place of those wonderful smells.
Yeah.
Loving the oils.
Anybody else share about what life was like before doTERRA?
I'll share. It's Katie. I had always had this desire. Well, not always. Once I found I was pregnant with my daughter, I had this really strong desire to go a really natural way, like a lot of women do. And my kids, incidentally, had a lot of issues. Like I had a NICU baby and I had a baby that was on oxygen. And I didn't have the tools. And so when I came to Lydia's class, it was like instantly I had tools to accomplish what I had wanted for my family. So super empowering for me.
Yeah. That's great. Anybody else want to share what was life like before doTERRA?
I'll share. This is Jody. So can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I guess my first thought when you asked that question, Lydia, was how frequently I go to my oil supply and hover over to see which one do I need to smell to help reduce stress or, help me maybe gain more energy. And so I think for me, probably the menopausal years have been a little harsh. It's nice to have a healthy backup at, all times of day and night right there on the counter. So that's my grace.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I love that. How many times do we go to our oils because we know that they work and that they're there? Does anybody else want to share?
I will. Before doTERRA, I had been exposed to essential oils through the years in my acupuncture practice, and I didn't care for them at all. I didn't like how they smelled. I especially didn't care for lavender. I thought it was putrid. Most of them I thought were sharp or too sweet or too flowery. So when I met Cynthia and she introduced me to the oils, of course, the first bottle she puts under my nose is lavender. And what immediately impressed me was there was a smoothness and a body to this oil that I had not experienced with other essential oils. And to me, that was indicative of the potency and the purity of the doTERRA products. And I started using them in my practice. I started using them on myself. I'd just be repeating the same comments that Cynthia said about what it could do for the patients and children and people who don't like to take pills and so on. And since then, I've been using more and more of the products myself, and I'm a company man now.
Yeah. Yep. Rebecca, did you want to say something? I thought I saw you trying to jump in. Rebecca needs some grace. She's on Eastern time, so it's really late for her. Can you unmute her, Cynthia?
Yeah.
She's having a hard time getting unmuted. There it goes.
We can hear you now. I unmuted you.
All right. I just liked how I learned step by step how to use the oils. Like at first it's really overwhelming, but as I use them more, it seems like the kids, we have a go-to, like for acne or what else, Jackie, do we use oils for? Calming, allergies. My daughter uses it on her cat, so, but it's really hard to remember before doTERRA what I did. So,
yeah.
Yeah, that's so true. I think about what I did before doTERRA, and I was at the doctor's office a lot more than I am now. So I can tell you the LRP is cheaper than going to the doctor every month. So So I just wanted to kind of bring you back to this place of what life was like before doTERRA, because in that vein, why would you not want to tell other people about essential oils? Really, we're offering a service. If you think about the times, and I know I've been there, where you're really concerned about a health concern or the way something's happening or the medicine's not working, and to not have something else to turn to, really, why would you not want to share? So with that in mind, as we are talking to people about essential oils, maybe you guys can chime in, or I don't know how you can raise your hand if we can't see you, but has anyone ever tried to sell oils on the fly? Meaning you are not prepared to do a presentation and it just kind of comes up in conversation. Has anybody ever tried to actually sell oils that way?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, Jody's nodding. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
James has never done that, right? Yeah. So why, one thing that I've learned about selling oils on the fly is that you're giving them enough information to say no, but you're not giving them enough information to say yes. So I wanted to, again, have some responses to this next question. Why should we set up an appointment?
Coconut oil. You already did? Okay.
All right, Rebecca, we can hear you now.
Oh,
That's the way to your first shift.
sorry.
Say
What
that.
were you asking me?
Somebody else answered. Hold on. Who was that answered? We couldn't hear you. If you can repeat.
Michelle here. Can you hear me? I'm having a hard time.
Now we can.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, my opinion is that it's the first yes. Making an appointment means that's the first yes to them being open to listening to what you have to present or offer. And that's the first step into success.
Oh, I like that.
Good point. James?
If you don't make an appointment and you try and sell them on the fly, they're going to take 3 or 4 sentences of what you're saying, and they're going to create an impression as to what it's all about. And more than likely, it's going to be a false impression.
Mm-hmm.
If you make the appointment, first of all, you're finding out that that person is serious, like Michelle just said. That's your first yes. And you're going to have time to be focused more on that person, and that person's going to be focused more on what you're saying. So your communication is going to be much better than if you just try to answer them quickly. It's a common tendency, and I learned this through some practice management workshops in explaining acupuncture to people. Acupuncturists will do the same thing. They basically throw up all over the prospect with information, and it's overwhelming for that person. They just can't take it all in. And you don't even know whether or not you're giving them the information that they might be looking for. The first thing to do is to find out what their need is and address that need. And to do that, you really need to spend some focused time in an appointment.
Definitely. Trisha, I saw that you had unmuted. Is there something that you had wanted to say?
I was just muting it again. My husband is watching the game.
Okay. Wanted to let you respond if you wanted to. So some of the things that I like about setting up the appointment is that, yes, you're giving them an opportunity to say yes. But I feel like another thing that it does is it helps to create the expectation that it's a business meeting and that, yes, you are selling something, and that they come into this appointment aware that it's not just, you're not just talking to them, but that you're going to be addressing their issues and kind of moving forward that way. So would anyone like to hear some of the tips on how to set an appointment?
Absolutely.
Sure.
All right. So we're going to talk about 2 different approaches, and there's a couple of steps to writing an approach. So I'm going to share my screen, and this is just kind of some of the how behind assembling the scripts that we have. So the first is an icebreaker. You want to start the conversation and somehow say hello, and how's it going, kind of thing. And then the next part is explain why you're calling or what you're asking about. You want to make sure that they understand. So this is if you're making a phone call. The next thing that you want to do is remove the pressure to buy. And I remember when I was first starting doTERRA being told, don't ever tell them they don't have to buy anything, because then they won't. And what was interesting is in the Emerge training, they tell them they don't have to buy anything, because it removes the pressure that they feel. Oh my gosh, I'm going to go to this sales conversation. Oh my gosh, I'm going to have to buy something. And by telling them that they don't have to buy anything, sometimes it's almost like reverse psychology, where they're like, oh yeah, well, just watch me. I'm going to buy something anyway, So I love the taking that pressure off. The next thing you want to share is an agenda of what you want to do in your appointment that you're trying to set up, and a time frame. Excuse me. And then you want to confirm that they're even open to setting an appointment with you, and then offer them an in-person appointment or a phone or Zoom, and then give 2 choice of times. And you don't want to say, hey, okay, what time in the next 2 weeks are good for you? Because that makes it too hard for them to quickly make a decision and do it effectively while you're actually on the phone. They might say, oh, let me call you back once I look at my calendar. Instead, you say, okay, I have Monday at 11 a.m. or Thursday at 7 p.m. And then that way they're looking at those 2 times, because they may come back with a time that totally doesn't work for you. So you want to be a little bit more specific and not give them too many choices. So then, just so that you can kind of see how this is put into words, we're going to start with setting an initial appointment with known. This means these are people that you know, friends or family, that you want to call and contact about doTERRA. So, for an example, it'd be, hi, Susie, this is Lydia. Did I catch you at a bad time? This is your icebreaker. And this question is an interesting one. It's getting a no out of the way. Sometimes people just want to say no. And so, did I catch you at a bad time? Oh, no, I can talk right now. So then you're I'm calling to get your thoughts on something. You're telling them why you're calling. I'm learning a new way to teach about essential oils, and I'm trying to set up appointments with people I know so I can get comfortable with it. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want to, so you're removing the pressure to buy. Then you're going to say, my part will take about 30 minutes. Would you be willing to help me out? So you're giving them a time frame. Then you say, great, I'm going to ask you what health concerns you and your family have and talk about what natural solutions are available. So you're telling them a little bit about what you're talking about, giving them kind of a short agenda. And then, would you be willing to help me out? So you're making sure that they're open to having the conversation, as well as asking them if they, I have that twice. Oops. If they want to have we can take that one out. If they want to meet in person or on the phone. Then you say, great, we can do it Monday at 11 a.m. or Wednesday at 7 p.m. You're giving them the 2 times to choose and which works better for your schedule. So then you want to ask them some questions after they say, oh yeah, I can do Wednesday at 7, to just get them thinking about the commitment they're making. So for instance, if it's over the phone, would you like to do it over the phone or on Zoom, which is an online video chat? Oh, I think I'd prefer the video chat. Then they're really thinking about what's going on that day, if they can see you. And if you're coming in person, you say, where should I park? Just to really kind of, again, make them think about, okay, where can they park at my house or my apartment? And then you say, okay, Monday at 11 a.m., I've got it on my calendar, do you? So you want to confirm that they are writing it down, that they have the time put down. So, any questions about any of that? I know it's not perfect, but it contains all the components. Does anybody have any questions or comments?
I have a question, Lydia. So what do you do then when you're talking to somebody, or what do you say when you're talking to somebody and the oil conversation comes up? Like what do you say to transition that into this type of a conversation?
So that's the next segment.
Oh, okay.
That I'll get to in a minute.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool.
Yeah. Does anybody have any questions about this one?
I sort of have a question.
Yeah.
Lydia, you kind of know about this, but I have 2 gals who I've been trying to set up appointments with, and they finally emailed me back and asked me what time would be good to meet. They both want to meet, one on Zoom and one in person. And me trying to be like, I was so excited to finally hear back from them, trying to be very accommodating. I told them what time works best for me when I don't have any kids, but I was very general. And I haven't heard back from either of them, and it's been over a week. And I think that was the problem, but it's weird because I am trying to be super accommodating. One of the gals lives in Hawaii, so with the time change, and she works full time. So how do you, I guess, get past the trying to be kind and accommodating with nailing down, these are your 2 options sort of thing?
Right.
You know what I mean?
So do you think it would make it easier for them if you picked 2 times and just said, hey, this time or this time?
I mean, I could see that it would take away their so many choices, but I'm afraid that I'm going to pick a time that doesn't work for them. And then the meeting won't happen for longer.
Right.
Because I feel like I would accommodate them in a heartbeat because my schedule is more accommodating,
Mm-hmm.
easier, flexible, but there's too many choices and I see that's a problem.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. Anybody else have any ideas?
Yeah, I would say, I think it would probably work that if you gave them 2 choices, then they could come back and say, oh, those don't quite work for me. Would you be available on Wednesday at 3:00? But somebody has to make the first move to suggest a time.
That's good.
And we don't want it to be them, because it's too
open-ended.
It's too open-ended. It makes them feel anxious. And so it's up to us to suggest a couple times first, and then let them do a counteroffer if that doesn't work for them. But at least you've taken the pressure off of them as far as
to pick it.
Time. Yeah.
I like that. Thank you.
I also suggest that you do that. Give them 2 choices of times or dates. More so beyond the dates is to give them a time, a.m. at 11 a.m. or evening at 7 p.m. What works for you? This way, it's kind of like giving your children 2 choices that work for you. So I would suggest that besides giving them the dates that work for you, because it's interesting if people know that you're in business and they feel that you've got things to do and you're presenting yourself as a leader, they kind of track that and they'll say yes to whatever choice that you desire, or they'll come up with something else, which is really a win as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Go ahead.
Another thing you can do is if you give them 2 choices and they just come back and say, well, no, that doesn't work for me, and they don't give you any alternative, you can give them 2 more choices that are convenient for you until you narrow it down to something that works for both of you. But that way you're still in control of the timing of when this appointment's going to happen.
Mm-hmm. And I have also given them 2 choices just simply by saying, do you need a daytime or an evening appointment? Which helps a little bit. And then they go, oh, daytime. And then I'll go, okay, do you want Monday at 11 or do you want Wednesday at 3? But you can start out that way, give them those 2 choices.
Yeah.
I agree with that. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because that looks more professional and that looks like more of a serious business person versus just whenever you can do it, which means that it's a little less serious, and that's might be, why they're taking so long to come back, with a serious, time on their own, if that makes sense.
It almost
kind of like
makes
me
you
feeling
sound desperate. Yes.
Yeah.
It makes you sound desperate. Anytime. When can you meet me, right?
And I kind of am.
It's almost like you're being too nice, and so they're going to take advantage. Whereas if you say, okay, I have such and such and such and such, or I love the idea of saying, asking, do you need morning or afternoon? Then they might say, oh, I need to have it before school gets out, or something like that. Or they need to have it after 5 p.m. because I don't get home until then.
Mm-hmm.
Then that really narrows it down. Then you give them 2 days and that way you're still being very accommodating, but you're also like moving it forward.
Yeah, definitely. So before we move on to the next one, I want to see if I can find a volunteer to actually role play this. And I want them to you'll read the script. You can change the names if you'd like. And then I will answer as the person that you're calling. I think sometimes just seeing it done again is helpful for preparing to do it yourself. So is anybody willing to volunteer to read through this script?
Oh, yeah. I'll role play with you if nobody else will.
All right.
Anybody else want to volunteer out there? They're kind of like, no, teach us.
Somebody else can do the next one.
Okay. So what do you want me to do, Lydia?
So just go ahead and just read through this script and we'll role play it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Ring, ring, ring. Hi, Lydia. It's Cynthia
Hello.
Maguire. Hi. Hey, I know I'm calling you out of the blue. Is this a bad time to talk? Do you have a couple minutes?
No, I'm available.
Oh, good, good. Well, so the reason I'm calling is I don't know if you know or not, but I've recently started selling doTERRA essential oils and teaching people how to use those oils for their health. And so that's explained. I'm getting stuck now. And so
can you see the script? I'm sorry. Can you see the script?
The outlines. I see the outlines.
Oh, sorry. I thought you guys could see the other page.
Oh, okay.
No wonder it's so hard for you. I'm like, wow, you're really ad-libbing.
Yeah.
Okay. Does that help? No wonder no one wanted to volunteer.
This is easy.
Okay,
Hi.
there you go.
Hi, Lydia. This is Cynthia. Did I catch you at a bad time?
No, I'm free.
Oh, good, good. Well, I'm just calling to get your thoughts on something. I am learning a new way to teach about essential oils, and I'm trying to set up appointments with people that I know so I can get comfortable with it. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want to, and my part will take about 30 minutes. Would you be willing to help me out?
Oh, sure.
Oh, good. Well, thank you. I'm just going to talk about what health concerns you and your family have, and then talk about what natural alternatives are available. Would you be willing to help me out here? A couple places?
I just saw that. Okay. Sorry.
So I'm so glad that you're willing to meet with me. Would you prefer to meet in person or over the phone?
I think over the phone might be better.
Okay, all right. Are you open to doing a Zoom call, which is where we can see each other face to face, and then I can share things on my screen that you can look at?
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay, yeah, I'll just shoot you an email and send you a link, and then we can get on that way. I have that on my calendar then set up. Oh, there we go.
Sorry.
Thank you. So great. We can do either Monday at 11 a.m. or Wednesday at 7 p.m. Which would work better for your schedule?
Monday morning is better.
Monday morning. Okay, great. So Monday morning at 11 a.m. And we're doing Zoom. So I'll go ahead and send you that link, and then you can hop right on your computer and we'll be able to do our conversation that way. Sounds good. So I have that on my calendar then. Do you have that on yours?
Oh, I'll put it in now. Thank you.
Oh, good. Good.
Okay, so you can see, thank you, Cynthia. You can see why it's a good idea to practice through your scripts before you use them. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
And I also want to encourage you that if you do use scripting, I've gotten a lot of my scripting from Cynthia, and just going through and putting it into my own words instead of what she has created has made me more comfortable trying to stay with that outline. So we'll wrap this up with the transition conversation. So this is very similar. It's going to follow the same type of outline. But the difference with this is that this is when I'm talking to somebody and essential oils comes up. And again, we're not selling on the fly. And I can tell you that this little first sentence here has really done so much for my business in the last, 10 months or so. So what you do is say, what I usually do is set up an appointment. Now, what this is doing is it's transitioning into, this is what I want as an appointment. It's also saying, this is what I usually do. Again, putting you back into the business, that you're a business person. What I usually do. And then when people hear that, they're like, oh, okay, well, that's what she does. So yeah, I can do an appointment with her. So it's what I usually do is set up an appointment. We talk about your health concerns, a little bit about doTERRA Company and the top 10 oils. You don't have to buy anything if you don't want to, but if you find something you like, I can help you get it. My part takes about 30 minutes. Would you like to schedule a time to talk? then you do the same kind of thing where you find out in phone or person and then the time. And so I want to wrap this up because we need to not go over our time. But when I've used this, it's worked a lot of different ways. There's been a time where I've had conversations with somebody over months and just kind of mention essential oils here and there. And then if I finally like feel ready to do what I usually do is and set up the sales appointment. However, last week I was going into the school and felt like I should ask the school nurse. And one of my kids was sick, and so I was picking him up. And she mentioned that she had a cold, and I said, "Oh, have you ever tried essential oils?" And she's like, "Oh, I've been thinking about looking into those." And I said, "Oh, well, that's what I do. What I usually do is set up an appointment." And she scheduled, and she's like, "Oh yeah, send me an email and we can schedule." And so this can be that easy, and you don't have to have a long-standing relationship with the person. You can simply ask for an appointment, and it's very effective. And what happens if you get a no? Great. Now you know you don't have to talk to that person and try to track them down and find a time to ask them. You know that they're not interested. But if they don't say no, great. Then you have an appointment time to talk to them about essential oils and share some of what you've learned that has changed your life so much.
Lydia, thank you so much. I love that little phrase. Have you ever tried an essential oil for that? I mean, what a quick, simple phrase to introduce the oils to somebody. And, you know, and then they'll say, "Oh yeah, I've been thinking about that," or "No, I've never heard about that." But what a nice little phrase, just when you see somebody with a health issue, to be able to say and introduce that. And then also, I just want to reiterate that one phrase, "What I usually do is," has changed the whole face of my team and the way people enroll. So instead of throwing up on people and talking to them a lot right then and there, and like Jane said, you know, giving them enough information just to say no, it's great. What I usually do is set up an appointment. And people like that. They respond to that. And then when you go into that appointment, they already know this is a sales appointment, and this is kind of what's going to happen. So thank you very much for sharing those thoughts. That's going to make things a lot easier for people if they just follow those couple, you know, simple rules. It's going to make getting appointments a lot easier. So thank you for sharing that. I think Lydia has to go. She has some kind of a ceremony going on tonight. Is that right?
Yeah, it's the end of the show band season. Hooray.
Okay. All right. So thank you so much. We will let you go. And then we're going to do our getting to know you part. And James and I decided, as your leaders, just to go ahead and do this, to introduce you, because we are your Diamond Upline, everybody that's on this call. So you may not know too much about us. So we're just going to take the next few moments here and just share a little bit about ourselves so that you get to know us. We are going to be rotating this around and inviting each one of you just to tell us a little bit about you. And it doesn't necessarily have to be, "Oh yeah, I've been in doTERRA this long, you know, and I'm this rank and whatever." Just kind of about you personally, and you can include doTERRA. So that's what I'm going to do. So my name is Cynthia Maguire, and I'm married to James, who's on the call also. I was born and raised in Ohio. I actually live in Colorado now. I got out of high school and I went to work at Wright-Patterson Air Force Base as a secretary, and I had a couple kids, and actually I had about 4 kids. And then at the age of 35, I went back to college, and I told people I wanted to become a naturopathic doctor. And I could only go part-time. And so people would tease me and they'd say, "Oh, you're going to be 50 by the time you get your doctorate." And I would say, "I'm going to be 50 anyway. So might as well have my doctorate to go along with it." And so in the process of raising 4 kids, I managed to get my doctorate at the age of 50, and started having a clinical practice, a naturopathic clinical practice here in Colorado Springs, and absolutely loved it. Did that for, like I said, about 20 years, and then got introduced to doTERRA. I have 4 children, and 11 grandchildren by those 4 grandchildren. And I married James about 5 years ago. And James is an acupuncturist. He's going to tell you about that. I've been in doTERRA for about 6 years. I hit diamond in 21 months. I had an amazing upline, Tana and Justin Lee. Tana was just a little powerhouse and really, just really pushed me to succeed. Yeah, she was just a powerhouse. She really pushed me forward. On a personal note, I love to work jigsaw puzzles, and I like any and all different kinds of puzzles, as a matter of fact. And my favorite thing to watch on TV is some kind of mystery where there's a whodunit or whatever. I love to hike and bike, and I like to read. And we serve in our church as family history consultants, which is in the genealogy department. So we help people trace back their family history for years and years. And then also work as the emergency preparedness consultant, which is kind of cool, because when I talk to people at the church, I also tell them, you need this family essentials kit in your emergency preparedness. So just these oils will last forever. Make sure you've got it in your kit. What else? Yeah, that's it. I just absolutely love doTERRA. I love helping people with natural healing in any way that they can. I do have a part-time practice now, but my real love is teaching people how to take care of themselves with the oils instead of depending on me. And the second thing I absolutely love about doTERRA is watching my leaders stretch and grow and become more confident every day. So loving doTERRA, and that's about me in a nutshell. So James, what about you? Can we get you unmuted here? Yeah, there you go.
Okay. Hi, everybody. I'm James Maguire, Cynthia's husband. And I was born in Boston, Massachusetts, and grew up right outside Boston, a city called Chelsea. I lived there for 30 years, and then went down to South Florida to thaw out for the next 28, and came to Colorado Springs in 2007. I think from the time I was young, I was always looking for something to do that would be helpful to people. You know how they always ask you, what do you want to be when you grow up? I didn't really know. I just knew I wanted to do something significant that would be helpful to people. I didn't know what that was until my younger daughter became ill when she was about 1.5 years old. She had a bad case of bronchitis that was bordering on pneumonia. And after 7 days on the antibiotics, she was getting worse instead of better. She was helped by someone who did acupressure and gave her some Chinese herbs and some spleen and lung glandulars. She fell asleep for the next 17 hours. Being a new father, I was a little concerned, and I kept going in, putting my finger under her nose, make sure she was breathing. But when she got up the next morning, you would have never known she was sick. All the congestion, wheezing, runny nose, fever, it was all gone. She got up, started playing with her sister as if nothing had ever happened. So I was so impressed with the results, and I never wanted to feel that helpless again, that I was in the 3rd graduating class of the first licensed acupuncture program in the United States at the New England School of Acupuncture. It's interesting, when I got out of school, there were no laws licensing acupuncturists. It was a strange situation. The American Medical Association called acupuncture quackery, while the state medical examining board said its practice of medicine should only be done by physicians. So they were covering both bases. So I got very active in the Florida Acupuncture Association and the National Acupuncture Association. Helped to establish those 2 organizations, helped to set up a lot of the laws and rules governing the practice of acupuncture, both in Florida and nationally. And over the years, I developed what I think is a pretty unique type of practice. The thing that keeps most people away from acupuncture is they associate it with hypodermics and sewing needles and uncomfortable experiences. So after the first 10 years of practice, I got tired of trying to tell people the needles don't hurt. So my treatment is now a 3-part treatment. I use a computer program to determine where the energy is out of balance, and then balance the energy with lasers, and get to more specific symptoms or parts of the body through acupuncture points in the ear and treat them with microcurrent, and then round the treatment off and finish it up with tuning forks. So if you'd like more information on that, you could go to my webpage, which is on the internet, jamesjmaguire.com. I came to Colorado in 2007, and it was on 11/11/11 at 11:11 a.m. that I met Cynthia. It was her birthday. She turned 56, which was another 11, and the address was 2207, which is another 11. So I had to pay attention to this introduction into my life. We started dating, and she started telling me about the oils and kind of experiences she was having with her patients. And as I mentioned earlier, I didn't really care for oils until she put lavender under my nose. And I had always been jealous of people who could do their business with a laptop and a cell phone from anywhere at any time and any place. I really envied that freedom that they had while I was shackled to an office whether people showed up or not, and I still had to deal with all that overhead. So when she told me she was making money at it, and she told me that I had to do the business in order to keep dating her, I was wide open, and was impressed with the results I saw for myself and for my patients. And after a few years, we were able to move into the house that doTERRA built, and I now practice part-time out of the house. I still see a few people, have a treatment room here at home. And my part in the business is mostly dealing with the computer. I update the database, and I take care of all the emails and announcements that you're receiving. And when I'm not doing that, or when I'm not treating patients, I'm becoming quite adept at being a good domestic engineer to support that end of our household. Personally, I like to ride my motorcycle. Just got a mountain bike that I'd like to learn how to ride. I'm finding out it's very different going up a thin dirt trail uphill than it is riding a bike on the blacktop. Also like all kinds of music. We go to concerts quite often down at Stargazers here in Colorado Springs. And I enjoy the outdoors, camping and hiking and things like that. I have 2 daughters who are fully grown. I have 3 grandchildren. They're down in Austin, Texas. And I have to say that life is good. Life is good. We have a charmed existence.
Yes, we
very
do.
Happy.
Thanks to doTERRA, it's definitely changed our finances. You know, as independent practitioners, you don't have a retirement plan, and usually make good enough money, but it's good enough money to get by. doTERRA has provided that retirement income for us, which has been just absolutely amazing. So we are at the end of our time. I hope you found this the things that we presented today helpful, and I'm gonna go ahead and let you go for now. Do watch for that announcement though, and get signed up for that 1-hour coaching session with Missy. It's very much of a coaching session. There'll be a lot of great things to be able to take away. So look for that. And for now, we will let you go for this evening, and you guys have a great week, and we'll see you back here next month. Okay? All right. Bye-bye, everyone.